Rosalie Koon was born October 6, 1926 in Mexico, Kentucky. She spent her early years in Mexico, where she completed grade school prior to moving to nearby Francis, Kentucky, where she graduated from high school. It was apparent early in high school that Rosalie was destined to be a great teacher. The principal would often pull her from class and place her in the room of an absent elementary teacher where she would fill in as the instructor. Shortly after her graduation in 1944, Rosalie married her husband, Terry. They were married 33 years and were blessed with a daughter, Carolyn. In 1955, the Koon family made their way to Albuquerque and a small apartment on Copper Avenue that became home. Within days of their arrival, a visitation team from First Baptist Church arrived on their doorstep. Rosalie visited First Baptist Church and joined on a Sunday night of the very first week. It did not take long for Miss Rosalie to become involved in the life and leadership of Albuquerque's First Baptist Church. A week after joining the church, Rosalie was put to work teaching elementary-aged children.
I remember having to look around and figure out which table Mrs. Koon was going to be at because I wanted to sit at her table. And whatever it was, even if I didn't like it, I would go sit at Mrs. Koon's table because she was the most delightful teacher, and she was so kind, and she was so much fun, and she treated you so beautifully.
She was very much a Bible-driven teacher. She taught us how to become a Christian and to live as a Christian, and that's what meant most to me.
She was still teaching Sunday school, and my children were in elementary school, and Tiffany said exactly the same thing, that she was my favorite teacher and I wanted to sit at her table. So that's fun to see how long her legacy has gone on and how faithful she's been to teaching children, and that seems to be where her first love is.
Over the last 60 years, Rosalie has faithfully served her church with a single-minded focus. Children has always been her passion and priority. She spent 42 years in the classroom teaching young children. Rosalie quickly became known by her children as a person who really cared.
Miss Rosalie has always been an encourager. She's taught me that. She's always sending cards, notes, even though she can't be here. A lot of the time she's always sent those and encouraging that, and she's a very fervent prayer warrior.
Throughout her teaching span, Miss Rosalie taught Sunday school, church training, and vacation Bible school. The complete loss of her hearing forced Miss Rosalie out of the classroom in 1997. However, this did not deter her constant commitment to her church and to the ongoing ministry to adults in the fellowship. Rosalie also worked on the staff of the Baptist New Mexican. This denominational publication of the Southern Baptist Church is significant in our state. Rosalie was quickly promoted to assistant editor and finally to acting editor of that state newspaper. The same devotion that she demonstrated to the children she taught was exhibited in her editing. While on staff with the Baptist New Mexican, she was privileged to work with such well-known people as Dr. Harry Stagg, Horace Burns, and Brother Whitlow. After 13 years of service to New Mexico Southern Baptist, Rosalie resigned to provide needed medical attention for her husband, Terry. Following his death, Rosalie worked for an additional 13 years for the Albuquerque Tribune. Facing great health challenges brought on by her leukemia, Miss Rosalie continues to exhibit her ever-positive and optimistic attitude. Her contagious grin is still enjoyed by all that know her. Nowhere is that smile more evident than at the 42 table, where Rosalie has developed her own legacy. When we think of the legacy of Rosalie Koon, it is without question in the lives of so many children she has influenced. Through her investment of 42 years, hundreds of little hearts were led to Jesus as a direct result of her teaching. This contribution to the kingdom is virtually unparalleled. Tonight, we are proud to recognize Rosalie Koon as a legacy inductee.